Hello and welcome to today's Bitrix24 webinar, Sell More with Sites. Thank you for joining today. Okay, so we'll just go through some introductions. So my name is Sam Connor. I'm a sales engineer here at Bitrix24 Gold Partners Interface. We're based in the UK, in the US and Hong Kong, and what we do is we offer a full range of services to help you with Bitrix24, starting off with pre-sales support. So what we can do is we can discuss your requirements in detail and see if Bitrix24 could be a good solution for your business. And if it is, we can then help with the implementation, so we can set up Bitrix24 to cover your specific needs and requirements. Now, if you're looking and interested in hosting, then what we can also offer is hosting services for the self-hosted edition of Bitrix, and we can provide you with ongoing dedicated support and also training to help you with Bitrix24. Okay, so if you are new to Bitrix24, let's just go through what Bitrix24 actually is. So it is a collaboration suite of well in excess now of 35 different types of tools that you can use to essentially manage your business. And there are over 10 million customers now that use Bitrix24 around the world. And the system is available in two different editions. So we have the Bitrix24 Cloud and we have the Bitrix24 self-hosted solution. And prices start from $49 per month for the basic cloud edition, and for a self-hosted system that starts at the Business 50 edition, and that would cost $2,990 for the Business 50 license. Okay, so today's webinar is Sell More with Sites. So we're going to be looking at how we can specifically build our own landing pages and how they can connect with different areas of the Bitrix24 system today. So it is important to understand, before we go in and have a look at the Sites module in more detail, you need to understand why you should use the Sites module within Bitrix24 and what some of those benefits are. Okay, so first of all, you can use your own domain. So once you've built a new landing page in the system, then you can add your own domain. And a really key aspect here is there is no design or really any coding skills required to actually create your own sites. We'll see how we can use blocks and drag and drop technology to build our landing pages. You don't need to have any coding experience to build your sites. And we'll see how they can integrate very seamlessly with other Bitrix24 tools. So we'll see how we can connect live chat widgets, website forms onto your landing pages, and then we'll see how we can use those tools to then feed information into the CRM, for example. So we'll see connections between the landing page, other contact center tools and the CRM system. And the real benefit as well is the responsive and mobile friendliness of the system. We'll see how we can view our landing pages on different types of devices, so we can test this before we publish on the web. Another key benefit is how we can create our own SEO and traffic analytic connections with the landing pages that we create. Okay, so first of all today, let's go and have a look at how we can actually create our very own sites on the Bitrix24 system. Okay, so let's now head on into our Bitrix24 system. Okay, so the first area we're going to go to today is actually within the Sites module. So if you're new to Bitrix, you'll see that on the left hand side you have a menu option, and that will have all of the different modules that are available in your Bitrix24 system. Now what we can then do is we can go into our Sites module, And this is where we can now start to design our very own site. Okay, so if you have existing sites, they will display in your sites module so we can see what's been published, what hasn't been published, etc. And if we want to create a new site, we can click on the Create a Site button. Now, what is the first thing we will do here is choose our design. So Bitrix offers a wide range of pre-configured designs that we can choose from. And these range from lots of different industry sections. So for example, we have web design agencies here, we have architecture, even cleaning services. So you can choose the type of industry you're wanting to use here if it's associated to your business, or it could be actually, you'll see there are seasonal designs as well on here. So we have Easter coming up fairly shortly, so you might want to use an Easter design, for example. So you can select the type of design you want to use, or you can also simply start from scratch. If you want to have an empty template, you have the option to use that here as well. Okay, so let's say we're going to choose here a charity template. So we can select this from here. And the first thing we need to do is we need to choose a theme. So we can see here for the live chats and some other areas of branding, I can select the color, let's go for red here. Yeah, and we have that now added to our page. And now I can click create, and it will use that template and information as what I would say is a framework for our site that we're going to create now. So it will bring through this information, and we can now start to adapt and customize this for our specific needs and requirements. As we go through today's webinar as well, just to mention, if you do have any questions, please do add them into the question box on YouTube, and we can go through those at the intervals in today's webinar. Okay, so first of all, now we have our templates here. What we should do is configure the essential settings for our landing page. So the way we do this is if we go into the top menu and we can click on settings, then first of all, let's have a look at the site settings. So this is the settings for the overall site that we are creating. So first of all, at the top here, we can see our domain. So when we create a site on Bitrix24, we get given a site address. Now you can use your own domain as mentioned, so we can add our domain name here and set up the record types correctly. Now we would absolutely recommend you doing this once you have set up the site. So first of all, once you have got a template, what you should do is you should use the domain that has been given by Bitrix. As you're customizing your site, adding the details, etc., it makes sense to use the site address that's been given. Once you've completed the templates and you're happy with your landing page, at that point, as you're about to publish, you should then add your own domain onto here. So that's just a recommendation that we would recommend there. So we've got the address, so that's really useful, so you can update the DNS settings of your domain. And what is also important to note is that Bitrix will automatically apply an SSL certificate to your site once the domain has propagated. So usually that will take up to around 24 hours. We can also add widgets. So we're going to have a look at widgets later on in today's webinar. So this is where we can add, for example, live chat widgets or website forms onto our site. So if I quickly show you here on this landing page, we have a widget. This is a live chat widget we have connected to our site here. So this is what the widget aspect is talking about here. And then further down, we can connect, for example, if you wanted to connect with Google Analytics, we can enter into here our UA code to connect with Google Analytics, so we can feed data from our site into Google Analytics for our reporting needs. Okay, so that's a look at the site settings. But what we can also do, because I mentioned here we're going to create a landing page, what you can also do within the sites module is you can create multi-page websites. So essentially you can create multi-page websites using this sites tool. So what we should also be doing here, if you are going to create a multi-page website, you should be applying the different settings for each individual page. And this is really essential for your website search engine optimization. So when people are searching for your sites on Google, you want to make sure you're ranking as highly as possible. So it is essential that we configure the SEO parameters for every single page. So if I go into the page settings here, I can see my page, and what I can do inside here is I can now start to edit the meta tags. So this is improving the crawling for the search engines. So here we can add the charity description here. We can add any keywords to help with our ranking on the system. So it's important we do this for every single page that we create on our sites menu. So we can go into here and then create the page settings as well. Okay, so we've got our template, we've set up the site settings correctly, we've also then configured the individual page settings. So the next step now is to actually configure the design on your site. Here we can see this template, so it's brought through all of the existing information from the template, and we can see here we have blocks. So the way the sites module works is you can use the block functionality to create your sites. So if I click on this block, for example, maybe I want to add, let's say, a new section with some images. So I can click and add a block, and then on the left hand side here I can select what type of block I want to add. So maybe it's a CRM form, for example, or maybe if it's a landing page counting down to an event, I might want to add a countdown widget onto the page. So I can collect the event countdown, and then I can go into here and I can really start to build out my events in here. But let's say I want to add some images, so let's go into here and select this image block. So I've got my block in my page now, and maybe I want to move this further up so I can move things up and down. And inside here, let's go into edit this particular block, and I'm going to upload a new image. So let's say we're going to Unsplash. So this is an image library that you can select from, and let's say I want to add a city image into here. So I can type in city, and let's select this image here. And now I can see that has been uploaded into the system, and I can save that information, and now that's been added into there. So it's really easy if you're wanting to try and configure your information. So it could be, for example, we've got some text here. I can customize the text here as well. So what we can see using the block formats, where we can easily add information, we can configure the design as well. So if we want to change the background colors, it's all done using very simple dragging technology, block formats. There's no coding skills required to be able to create your site inside the system. So hopefully you'll see that's a really seamless way to be able to build out your sites inside the system. Okay, and now let's just have a look at some sites that we've already made, so you can really start to get the idea of how the sites can look once they have been created. Okay, so Bitrix offers the ability to create landing pages. So if we go into our cake landing page, this could be really useful if you have maybe marketing campaigns and you want to promote certain products, for example. You could create a landing page, and within that landing page, what we can then do is we can connect with the customers. So here we've got a form, for example, and also a live chat system, so I could speak with somebody from the organisation. and that information will automatically route back into your Bitrix24 system. Or the alternative to a landing page is actually a multi-page site. So we've mentioned on the sites module that you can create multi-page websites. So for example, here on this cake website, we've got different cakes that are available. But it could be, for example, rather than just having a landing page, I want to go into the inquiry page and then speak with someone. So we can open up a brand new page here, and that's now a multi-page site that we have. So there's different ways you could use the sites module. As I say, you can create a multi-page site here, or you could create bespoke landing pages. And landing pages are really useful for one-off marketing campaigns to essentially collect data, because we can then, for example, if somebody added their details from this form, that could automatically create a new record in our Bitrix24 CRM system. Okay, so it's really useful, different ways that you could use the sites module for your specific requirements. Okay, now and let's just go back to our sites area. So if we just go back into here, we've mentioned about forms. So if you wanted to add a form, for example, onto your site, I can click on the form area here, and this is where we can now start to populate this with a form inside the system. And we'll have a look shortly at some of the different types of widgets that we can add. So we have CRM forms, we have live chat widgets, you can even have a callback request. So this is where we send that information back into the system to request a callback. And then once you've created your site, we can then see what this looks like on different devices. So here I'm looking at this as a desktop display, but I can also view this on a tablet device, so I can see actually those different images I've just added into here. How does that look on our tablet device? I can see that looks absolutely fine on here. And then I can also click on the mobile view as well, so I can see how this displays on a mobile device. So I can see again that flows really nicely with those images that we have just added. So you don't need to spend hours and hours having to see how this looks in views on different devices. You can simply collect and go through those different views directly on the site that you have just created. So that's going to save you an awful amount of time and resources to essentially make sure that you are creating the site that is appropriate for your organization. Okay, and so once we've done that, once we've done our testing, we can then go back into our site settings, and really it's at this point that you should then add your own domain. Okay, so once we've done that testing, we can then add our domain, and we can then publish our site. So I can click on the publish button here, that would publish it to the web, but I could also click on the preview area here, so I can preview what that site looks like before we publish. So I can see that right here. Okay, so once we click publish, what we can then do is, once your DNS is pointed, you are good to go, and your site is then ready to be accessed on the World Wide Web. Okay, so that is a look there at how we can use the sites module to create our own landing pages and multi-page sites using the Bitrix24 sites module. Okay, let's just see if we have any questions on YouTube. Okay, so question here, really good question. Can I keep my site hidden until it's ready to go live? So really the way you would do this is you really shouldn't point your DNS record until you want it to go live and accessible to people on the web. Okay, and is there a limit to how many pages I can create? So no, that's a really good benefit of using the Bitrix24 sites module. There is no limit to the number of pages and to the number of sites. If you are on a self-hosted or professional cloud edition of Bitrix24, there is no limit to the number of sites that we can create. Okay, if you have any other questions, please do add them into the question area on our YouTube channel, and we can run through those during the rest of today's intervals on Bitrix24. Okay, so if we just go back now, and actually what we'll have a look at here is not just now the online version of the sites module, we can actually create a store as well in our Bitrix24 system. So it could be that you want to maybe sell products to your customers directly through the Bitrix24 system, and that's now possible with the Bitrix24 online store. Okay, so moving out of the sites module, we now have our own dedicated online store module where we can now start to manage the creation of products directly inside your Bitrix24 system. And the first thing we can do is we can create a template. So we can, just like with the sites module, we can create a template for our online store. There aren't as many templates that you can use, but there are some templates available. And then if we just click into one of our online stores here, we can see how this looks. So it uses again that block format technology, so we can create the different areas for our online store. And what the key difference is with the online store is we can add products that our customers can purchase. So here we can see some different products. For example, we could choose different sizes of shoes. We can maybe even have different attributes, such as different color types that the customer could select from. And then I could add those to my basket to purchase. So all of this can be done through your online store. But in order to be able to add those products into here, first of all, we need to actually manage those products back in the Bitrix24 end of our system. So let's now go into our online store. And what we can do is we can go into our products area, and we can then see all of the products that we have associated to this specific online store. If I want to add more products, I can add the products into here. So this is where we would add all of the product details. We might add an image for that particular product. And we mentioned earlier on about SEO, so we can add meta titles and descriptions to make sure we're routing correctly. And what we can then see, if I just say go into one of these packages, we can see the prices for these particular goods, so we can add all of the prices that we want to sell our products for. And once we've added the products, obviously we want to be able to set up our payment providers to be able to have customers purchase those products through the online store. So for example, here we can connect with PayPal or Stripe in Bitrix24, or you can try to connect with a new payment system if you click on the new payment system button. But Stripe and PayPal, they are standard integrations that you can use through Bitrix24. Okay, so moving on from there, now let's go and have a look at the orders section. So we've created our page, we've added our products, and we've connected our payment gateways. So now customers can purchase products through the website. But Bitrix24 then takes it to really, I'd say, the next level, to another level for integration. So when somebody purchases now through our online store, this information can then come into your orders database. So here we can see all of the orders that have been generated through our online store. And you can see here different stages that we have created for our online store. Now that is completely customizable to what you would want to have for your stages. So it could be you have many different stages you need the ordering process to go through. You can create those stages inside the system here. And then what we can do is we can set up automation rules. So for example, as soon as the order is accepted through the online store, we could send out a personalized email to the customer thanking them for their order. So there's lots of different types of automations we can set up for either internal for the employee, so maybe we create a task for the responsible person, or it can also be communications to the customer as well. And another feature we have here is triggers. So a trigger can automatically update the stage of that order based on specific conditions. So for example, as soon as the payment is processed and it's been approved, we can automatically update the stage of the order to paid. And then based on it being at the paid edition now, we then have different automations that we progress the ordering through. So automations really allows you to streamline the process to what your specific ordering process would be. Okay, so that is a look at the online stores, how we can use templates, how we can then manage products and payment gateways to be able to have customers purchase products through the system. And then we can manage the orders through the customizable stages and also our automation. So you can really streamline your order customer process. Okay, so question there, am I able to offer discounts? Absolutely. So if we just go back into the system here, based on the settings here, we can add coupons. So it could be for maybe certain promotions you want to run. You want to apply a coupon or a discount to products that the customers are going to purchase. So you're able to actually generate coupons and discounts for maybe generating additional promotional activity in your Bitrix online store. Okay, so that's a look there at the online store. We just had some questions there. If there are any other questions, please add them into the question box, and we can go through those before the end of today's webinar for you. Okay, so moving on now, we've had a look at how we can build our own sites, so landing pages and multi-page sites in the system. And we've just seen there how we can also create our own online store. But really those are almost meaningless without connecting different widgets onto your pages that feed data back into Bitrix24. The integrations is what really makes the whole product incredibly powerful. So we want to be able to communicate with our customers, and we can do that through live chats. We want to be able to have people submit their details and information. We can do that through inquiry forms. So it's really critical we then build these integrations into the system. Okay, so let's go back into our system, and we're going to have a look now at those different types of integrations. Okay, so let's now go into the widgets section. Okay, so here is where we can now start to create the different widgets that we want to apply to our sites. Okay, so there are lots of different types of widgets. We're going to focus on, I would say, some of the most important and most widely used widgets from our customer base. So the first one we have here is a live chat widget. So I'm just going to show you how this works. So if we go into one of our pages here, we can see, let's go to the home page. We've got a widget here. So what this essentially enables you to do is communicate from people who are on your website to potential customers through your system. So let's say hello. Okay, so we've just sent in a question, and I can go into our Bitrix24 system, and I can see here this has created a brand new conversation in Bitrix24. So the customer's got a question, they can ask that question directly on the website, and it feeds through to your Bitrix24 system, so you can seamlessly manage that inquiry. Okay, so if we just go back onto the chat there, you can see how can I help has been added back into the conversation. So it means you don't lose out on any potential customers. You maybe want to speak with someone, you could use the live chat feature to enable you to do that. So here we can enable the widgets, so we can choose which area of the web page we want the logo widget to go. Usually it would go in the bottom right hand corner, but it is entirely up to you. You can customize the color here as well, so you can change what this looks like. And you can decide, there's different settings here, so when does that widget display? Does it display on mobile devices, and the language, etc. And what's really nice as well is if I go into the settings here, we can choose here who this live chat can be queued for. So who is responsible for actually dealing with those live chat requests. So it could be you're able to have that request go to a group of customer agents who are able to respond to those live chat requests. And the chat could go to every single one of them, so somebody can pick up that chat very quickly and respond to the customer. Or you might want to distribute evenly, so it goes to a specific person, and then after a certain amount of time it could then be routed to somebody else, for example. So there's lots of really nice cool features you can enable on your widget. And once you have added the widget, we can then select that from our landing page. So on our landing page we could go in and select the widget. But even if you haven't created a landing page on Bitrix24, you can still connect these different widgets. So here we have the widget code. So I can embed that code onto my website, and that live chat feature is then enabled on my live chat system. So it's a really nice feature that you can enable on your Bitrix24 system. Okay, further down here we also have some CRM forms. So these are really powerful. Again, if we go back into our landing page here, we've got a form, so we could fill out this information, for example. So what this enables you to do is then when we submit that information, it can automatically create you a new entity in your CRM system. So if we were to create a new form, we can see these are the fields we've got here, but I can add new fields. So this is pulling in from the CRM system. So any field you create in the CRM, you can then select and add them onto your form. So here I can then add additional fields. I might want to remove certain fields, or what do I make mandatory? It's completely up to you. And then once you've completed the form, again, that can be embedded onto your landing page. Or what we have the ability to do is, if we go to the settings section, what I can do inside here is I can add this to, let's say, to an external site. So I can take the code here and embed that onto my existing website that I already have. So you don't have to create the pages in Bitrix, but you can then take these integration tools and connect these to your website. So when a form gets completed, what we could then do is we could have that automatically feed into the CRM system. Let's say as a brand new lead. So inside the lead section here, then we could have every new web form inquiry create a new lead inside the system. So we could then go into here and then manage that whole sales process. So inside here, for example, we can, in the lead section, we can create the different stages that we want to progress the lead through. So that lead process is completely customizable to what you would want it to be. So for your inquiry process, it may be you have 1 or 2 stages, or it could be 10 to 15. You can completely customize how this looks. And what's really nice as well is we saw this in the online store. We can also set up automation rules inside the lead database. So let's say, for example, on our landing page we have a web form. Somebody fills out their details on that web form. That could then automatically create a new lead in the system. And as it hits the new lead stage here, the first stage here, we could then automatically send out a personalized email to them, thanking them for their inquiry. And maybe it creates a task for the responsible person of that new lead. So we can then create activities for our internal team as well. So simply based on having that web form on your ready-built landing page in Bitrix24, we can then start to automate the whole inquiry and sales process. So you can really start to see how powerful the connections are here. So we can go from building our landing page inside the system, we can then connect a web form, and when we fill out the details on that form, that can create the new inquiry in the CRM, and we can then create automations to actually completely automate the whole sales process with the customer. So this is going to save you an awful amount of time. You don't need your sales teams to have to manually communicate and see when new leads come in. This can all be automated through the Bitrix24 system. Okay, so a question we've just had here is, can I create different live chat widgets for each site with different people? So yes, absolutely, you can create a widget for every single page that you want to have. So let's say, for example, you have 4 websites. You could actually have a live chat widget for every single website that you are running. So inside here we can simply create different, what we call open channels. So I can create a new open channel, and that is essentially a new live chat widget that you can then apply to one of your websites. And inside each individual live chat, we can then configure who those live chat messages can be routed to. So let's say for this particular website, I'm going to allow these 3 people to be able to access that particular live chat. But then on a different live chat, we could set up completely different people who are then responsible for dealing with those live chat requests. So it's really nice that we're able to create multi-widgets across multi-page websites. Okay, so just to have a quick look now at reporting. So we've just seen there the integration pieces, and we've just answered some questions there. So let's go back into, just have a look at reporting. So there are a number of ways that you can report on what is happening based on the sites that you have in your system. So we've already mentioned how we can set up and integrate with Google Analytics. So each site you set up in your site configurations allows you to add your Google Analytics account tracking ID. So you can go into your Google Analytics to track all of that data. Even within the open channel area, so if you set up, for example, live chats, as we've mentioned, those different widgets, you have conversation statistics inside here. So you've got this large dashboard area for reporting. So we can see, for example, the number of sessions that we've taken place on the live chats, and we could see what is the average reply time based on when customers are submitting new live chat messages through the live chat system. And I think this is one of my favourite dashboard reports inside the open channel statistics. We have the activity section. So what we can see here is actually when are we most busiest with interactions on live chats and through our other integration channels. So this allows you to schedule your staff at the most important times of the working day. So that's a really nice, useful, high-level overview of when we are most busy through our conversation statistics. And it is also possible inside here we can add other widgets as well. So if you wanted to build your own maybe number widget into here, you're able to create your own report. And you can change the filtering period as well. So let's say we want to look at maybe a specific year, for example. So you can build your own reports based on different time parameters as well. Okay, so that's a really useful area. So we can check the response times, you can see the number of new inquiries as well. I would also say if we just go back into the CRM system, we've mentioned how using web forms and live chats we can create our own leads directly in the system. The lead section then has its own Kanban view, so we can view all of the leads in our CRM system. And inside here you've got a filtering tool, so you might want to filter based on different sources. So actually, let's have a look at all of those created based on live chats inside the system, for example, or it could be based on website forms. And then we could also view the list area as well. So what we could do is we could drill down and filter based on the leads inside our system here. And then you can also export this data out of Excel as well. So that's another way we can manage all of the data that's coming in from our landing pages via website forms and live chat widgets. Okay, so in summary today in the Bitrix24 Sell More with Sites webinar, we've looked at how we can create our own landing pages and multi-page sites using the Sites module. And really one of the most important things you should take away from today's webinar is how simple it is to set up your landing pages and multi-page sites. You don't need to be worried about having to be technical or having coding skills. It uses drag and drop technology and blocks to enable you to create your sites. And you can see how you can create great looking designs. So you can use the Splash library to add images, or you can add your own designs onto the sites that you create. And we can see how it is fully integratable into Bitrix24. So we've seen how once we've created our sites, we can connect website forms and live chat widgets, so we can then seamlessly connect that information into the CRM system. And then in the CRM system we can use automation rules to streamline the whole sales process with that customer. And essentially that is going to help you improve conversion rates through that whole entire automation process, and hopefully that will improve your customer loyalty. So this wasn't really just about how you can create sites, it's about the whole overall package of integrating different features onto your sites and then automating your whole customer journey process using the tools in Bitrix24. Okay, so here we can see some upcoming webinars that we have available for you. So we're here at 11 AM Eastern Time every Tuesday, so I hope you're able to join next week's webinar. We will also be uploading today's webinar onto our YouTube channel, so if you missed any sections, please head over to our YouTube channel to view those. If you have any questions before next week's webinar, if you have any questions about Bitrix24, if you want to discuss any services that we can provide you with, please do contact sales@intraface.com and we'll be happy to set up a meeting with you to discuss your questions and requirements in more detail. Okay, so thank you very much for joining today's Sell More with Sites webinar. I hope you found that really useful, and I look forward to seeing you next week for the next Bitrix24 webinar. Okay, thanks for your time today. Bye for now.